The truth is, I don't actually know if my dissertation is good or not. I don't think people would disagree that the idea of good or bad is pretty subjective. And this is particularly true when it comes to dissertations. I mean, I can vividly remember being an undergrad and having people genuinely being impressed with what I did and giving me a lot of support and encouragement and telling me that the work that I did was good. And while grad school, it's just different. And that's because this idea of good or bad isn't actually what we should be using to describe the work that we are doing. Again, as an undergrad, it was easy for people to see the work that you were doing and be proud of you because you were reaching certain landmarks or milestones or developing certain tangible skills that were easy to quantify. In graduate school, the process is a little bit different. It's no longer are you good or bad at something, but rather, is what you're doing useful? And in the case of a dissertation, it's actually really hard to figure out, is your dissertation useful or not? And that's because basically nobody is going to read it. And if there are people reading it, it's probably your committee who has spent the last 3 or 4 years reading it and helping you revise it, critiquing it, and giving you feedback. So even if it was impressive or something that was good to them at the beginning, as you get towards the end, it may start to lose its little bit of luster or novelty. And the feedback or the responses or relationships that they have with your dissertation probably become less about good or bad ideas and more about refining the nitty-gritty details of your writing or of your ideas, where it no longer feels like this is good, but rather this is how you can make it better. And if there are people who do end up reading your dissertation, it completely is possible that it may not be in their field related to their particular interest or research ideas, and to them it may not be very useful. And then I guess, yeah, to those people, then it's probably not very good. And that's okay, because if you are a graduate student and you are working on research that is under-researched, unexplored, being approached in a completely new way, then it may genuinely take years for people to really understand how useful your research really is. It may even take some major event or community building or some societal aha moment that helps people understand the significance of your ideas and your contributions to the academic and social field. And also, maybe your ideas that were in your dissertation never actually become all that useful to anybody. And that's also okay. Because the whole point of graduating, the entire point of going through the ordeal that is graduate school, is to learn how to learn and learn how to be a better communicator. And so when I feel a little weird or like uncomfortable with this amorphous status of my dissertation of good or not good or undecided, I try to gently remind myself that my dissertation is the first major form of academic writing that I have ever done. And honestly, hopefully, it should be the worst piece of writing that I will ever do. Because as I spend each day as an academic, reading, writing, and working to be better, the scholarship that I will produce now and in the future should be better and better, and hopefully amount to something that is good or useful. And so then when I look back at my dissertation, it doesn't become this source of shame, but rather a monument to how far I have journeyed and improved over the lifespan of my career as an academic. Like, if you're like me and you're reflecting on your work as a graduate student or as an academic, and you do feel like you're not good enough, it's not sophisticated enough, that it could be so much better, that's okay. Because just because your work isn't where you want it to be right now doesn't mean it never will be. Sometimes learning how to be helpful or providing the most useful information or learning how to be good takes time. And that is often something that is stolen from us as graduate students. We are often working, teaching, doing classes, researching, and trying to figure everything out, where we don't have the time to really develop these other skills to help make our research, to help make our writing, to help make our process good. But luckily, there's still more time ahead of us. And I know this is easier said than done, but I think it's important to say out loud and to hear that we shouldn't be carrying the shame of the failure of our institutions. It's okay if we're not brilliant or good or amazing immediately, because we have time to get better, even when we feel like we don't. I guarantee your best efforts will ultimately prove to be enough, even if it just takes time. So yeah, I don't actually know if my dissertation is any good, but you know what? I'm still pretty proud of it. My dissertation may not be this pristine, beautiful, polished piece of academic work like other PhDs, but I still feel like I'm a pretty capable PhD. So if you're interested in seeing the skills that I have developed to help me get to graduation and earning a postdoc, then you should watch this playlist next. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next week.